Okay, so let's have a look at this essay on whether to spend a large amount of money on weddings. Experts throughout the developing and developed world have debated whether weddings have to be expensive or affordable events. That's good. While some spend enormous sums on their weddings, personally I strongly disagree with such an approach. Yes, nice clear argument. This essay will argue that expensive weddings' positive aspects do not overweight. Okay, there's a mistake there, so do not outweigh the negative ones. Using examples from sociologists and official statistics to demonstrate points and prove arguments. Fine. Yes, you've started with a very clear argument, which I like. You've provided a thesis statement. That's good. Okay. On the one hand, there is ample evidence that the issue of transforming traditionally humble weddings, rather than issue, I prefer the word trend here. I think it fits better. So there's ample evidence that the trend of transforming traditionally humble weddings into luxurious, time-consuming ceremonies has been growing since the 1960s, okay, when the paradigm of consumerism, I don't really like that phrase, to be honest, it's a bit heavy, but yes, okay, well, I would just say when consumerism started conquering minds and markets. So you need an S on minds. Firstly, it must not be forgotten that, according to psychologists, when basic necessities are satisfied, people tend to fulfill their emotional needs and spend more money on entertainment. Very nice sentence. Secondly, modern hectic lifestyles. You could say here, secondly, the modern hectic lifestyle, or secondly, modern hectic lifestyles isolate people from their relatives and friends, so a bright event can be seen as a perfect way to reunify with all of those. I don't know if I like the word unify here. I would say it can be seen as a perfect way to connect with all of them, because you're talking about people, so you're talking about their relatives, so to connect with all of them. Okay. For instance, recent studies of the National Bureau of Statistics confirms that around 70% of weddings in the Ukraine cost more than a yearly income. Okay, cost more than the yearly income of an average family, and such costs are affordable only for every fifth family. Okay, very good clear statistics there, very good evidence to support your claim. At the same time, 2 out of 3 young couples invest in 2-day wedding celebrations, because they want their bigger families, okay, not bigger families, you'd say extended families, to bond as a group of relatives. Okay. Yes, we talk about the extended family. Thus, it is conclusively clear that the main benefit of money-consuming rituals is the emotional connection between the participants afterward. Okay, the afterward sort of hangs on that sentence. It's not very clear there. I think I would just delete it. You could say between the participants in their future married life, just to make it clearer. On the other hand, although there is a case for wasting financial resources on wedding ceremonies, okay, this doesn't sound right, because you're saying there is a case, and then you're using a negative word like wasting, which suggests that it's negative, but you're saying there is a case, so that it doesn't work. You'd have to say, on the other hand, although there is a case for spending financial or using financial resources on wedding ceremonies, and even using bank loans for that, the negative impact of abnormally costly events cannot be overstated. Okay, because you've started with an although, you need to have an opposite opinion. So you're saying the negative impacts at the second part of your sentence. So the first part has to be more positive. That's why the word wasting doesn't work there. So you can use any word like, for using or spending money on, but just delete the word wasting for the whole sentence to come together. Okay, this is largely because those money flows, okay, could be, I don't really like the word money flows here. I would just say largely because this money and just put this money, could be invested properly instead of being spent on entertainment. That's fine. According to sociological studies, strong, and it's just a typo there, A-N-D, strong and lasting relationships between relatives originate from their willingness to cooperate, okay, not of cooperation, not from unsound, that's a mistake, isn't it? So not from social events, I think you mean there. The papers confirm that. Now, I'm not sure what you mean by papers. Do you mean newspapers? And I wouldn't say newspapers can be biased, so I wouldn't use them as an example, as a strong example to confirm an argument. Newspapers can be biased, they can be prejudiced, and they can also be wrong. But if that's what you mean by newspapers there. Confirm that wedding styles do not play a central role in the future family life, because only after 75 post-wedding meetings, on average, relatives, okay, what you need to say to make the sentence connect, on average, do relatives build trust? Okay, the do is actually important there, because you've got only after. Okay, so that's an inverted sentence. So, do relatives build trust? And this happens only after 2 or 3 years in general. It's quite a long sentence. So, you could put that into 2 sentences just to increase clarity. It does work as long as you use the do before relatives. As I say, I'm not too happy with the example of papers there as a reliable source. Okay. Additionally, they found out that costly wedding ceremonies lead to an increased rate of financial problems in the future, and sometimes even affect relationships in a negative way. Okay, that's good. To sum up, although stunning bridals are unjust, okay, bridals doesn't work here. Bridals is an adjective anyway, so you'd need a noun, but to sum up, although stunning, you could say although stunning wedding ceremonies or wedding events are unjustifiably believed to be beneficial among young couples, pure statistics shows the harmful effects of this development. Yes, you could have development or trend there. According to this line of thinking, if families could shift from going on spending sprees while organising weddings, they would be more financially sustainable. Yes, it's fine. Shift from going on is quite a long way of saying something quite simple there. You could say if families could restrain themselves from going on spending sprees, that might sound better. Okay, then the rest is fine. The question whether to spend money on a ceremony or on a house, for example, should be answered unambiguously in the modern world. Okay, that's fine. Okay, that's good. The only thing I'd say about your conclusion, it's absolutely fine, and there's no problem giving an example, but to finish your last sentence of the essay on an example, I think I'd rather see a conclusion finished just with your opinion, as you did in your introduction. Like, I strongly disagree with this approach. That was good. You could do something like that in your conclusion. So, for example, therefore, this essay has shown I'm clearly of the opinion that lavish weddings, and then whatever your opinion is. So, for example, lavish weddings contain or have more drawbacks than advantages. But just using what I mean is putting in your personal opinion in your conclusion is always good, so that the argument is clear. But on the whole, very, very good essay, I have to say. This is one of the better ones I've seen, because you've given very clear examples to support your arguments, very convincing arguments too, and mostly very, very well phrased as well. Good. You've got a good range of vocabulary and tenses, so I think this is a very good essay. Well done. So let's have a look at your job application letter. Dear Sir or Madam, Madam is spelt without the E at the end, so delete the E. I'm writing on the matter of a job posting about a vacancy. Okay, I would actually change this here. I'm writing regarding I'm writing regarding a job advertisement for a software developer, comma, which has been recently published on your company's website. Okay, that would sound a lot better. Okay, according to the description of the job, again, you know, it's always better to be concise in the English language, and if you can make a phrase or a sentence shorter, it's actually considered better. So you could just say according to the job description, which removes a couple of words, description of the job. Okay, so according to the job description, you are looking for a professional. I would actually say, comma, who has, not having. Okay, looking for a professional who has experience in the areas of scaling web projects and developing maintainable software solutions. Okay, I believe these requirements match my professional aims and experience. That's good. My experience in software development has been mostly related to creating web projects, one of which had to be scaled. That's fine. It was a free hosting or a SaaS platform for online communities. While working on the project, we had to scale it to several servers with a star topology. Okay. Everything on this project was done in the pre-cloud period, so MySQL played a central role in the solution. That's fine. While being a valuable professional, that's not a collocation. Valuable is usually about goods. You can make a valuable contribution, but I wouldn't use it as a collocation with professional. You could just say, as a professional, I have always been looking for new challenges. That is why I regard the role of a scalability engineer attractive to me. Okay, that sounds more professional. Okay, since I have been reading a lot about this topic as a confirmation. Okay, this is an incredibly long sentence, so the first thing I would say is definitely make this into 2 sentences. And we can also shorten it by shortening some of your phrasing as well to make it more concise. So you could just say since reading, so you can delete I have been reading, or I have been. So since reading a lot about this topic, comma, as a confirmation of my interests, and again I would delete in this direction, it's actually unnecessary, it's just padding. So as confirmation of my interests, I've also obtained 2 certificates from cloud service providers, comma, which can be used as a base for your project, or a base on, but I think 4 is better there. Full stop. Now here definitely full stop, okay, and a second sentence. But you've already made the previous sentence shorter by just streamlining some of that phrasing, okay. Please find these certificates attached along with my CV. Or you could say as well as. I think maybe you mean as well as there, but you just left out the double L, it would be fine, as well as my CV. Please consider my candidature for the role. I think I would prefer here, I hope you will consider my application for this position or for this role. It just sounds a bit nicer. And then looking forward. Now this is a job application, and remember, looking forward, it's fine, but it's more informal than I look forward. So I think in a job application I would actually say, I look forward to hearing from you soon. Especially as you're using the very formal yours faithfully, which is fine because you don't know the name of the people, dear sir or madam. So it is a formal letter. So I look forward to hearing from you soon. Okay, otherwise fine. Generally overall what I'd just like to say is try and make your sentences a bit more concise. Tighten up some of your phrasing, and don't try to put too much information in one sentence. It actually reads better sometimes to have, you can have a mix of long and short sentences, but over long sentences with too many ideas can get quite hard, it can be quite confusing for the reader. But generally I would say, again, it's good. You've got a very good range of vocabulary. You have certainly fulfilled the task. You've dealt with the 3 points, 1, 2 and 3. and mostly it is the correct register for business job application, so for business letter. Okay, so well done.